Good day and welcome to season 2 of Game Time with Marco. Thank you very much for being with us in season 1, and thank you for the comments, the views, and all the suggestions that you gave us. We really appreciate you being with us, and would like to encourage you to follow us on all our social media platforms. They are currently showing here on the screen, and for those of you that would love to get in touch with us in terms of marketing and their products on this program, please do click on the link that is on this particular program. My name is Marco Ndlovu. It is season 2, the first episode of season 2, and what a way to start it with the former captain of the Brave Warriors, African Stars legend, a former UNAM player, a former Tuks football player in South Africa, and he's going to tell us more about himself. His name is Ronald Stigga Ketjijere. I have to get that one right. I always used to say Ketjijere until I was corrected at work. That is Ketjijere. Stigga, welcome and thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Marco, to have me here out of my busy schedule. Yeah, everyone struggles with that surname. The surname is Ketjijere.
Ketjijere?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's a struggle of everyone. And I'm glad to be here.
Okay. And looking at it, Stigga, it's a long time coming. It's been coming for a long time, this sit down. I just wanted to find out from you, man. Tell us about Stigga. Who's Stigga? Where were you born? Where did you grow up? Which school did you attend?
Yes, Marco, Stigga is a young boy from Okagarara, Dusty village in Ochodonjupa region. Yeah, that's where I grew up. I was actually born in Ochivarongo, but unfortunately my birth certificate reads Okagarara.
Is it unfortunate or fortunate?
I don't know, whichever way you look at it, I was raised and bred and raised in Okagarara. So I grew up in Okagarara. I went to school in Okagarara. I used to watch legends, Nora Nyanda, them. They used to come to Okagarara to play football tournaments. Ronnie Shipoya, former Stars legend. A lot of guys. Robert Ganyone, we grew up together. Venon Amolo, Ricardo Shiworo, you can name them. Chris Kashukwa. So that's my generation. Sunny Batera played for Arrows, played for Stars, Hotspurs. So I just grew up in Okagarara. I went my primary school in Okagarara. I matriculated at Okagarara Secondary School. So I'm just a village boy from Okagarara, and I'm from a village called Omupanda, 12 kilometers from Okagarara. Okay. So I'm just a local guy that grew up in Okagarara.
All right. With you schooling in Okagarara, what was the football culture there when you were growing up?
No, it was street football, you know. We used to play a lot of football even after playing during the whole day. You come back all white, dusty, and we used to get some whips from our parents because their houses were clean, and we come there with our dusty feet from the streets from playing football. So back then, football was the only thing that we grew up seeing from the older players, and a lot of tournaments used to be hosted in Okagarara. There was a team called Kaundeka Aces, and so there were a number of teams where the league legends will always come. Atiel Bahadem played there, but by the time they were already playing in the Premier League. I had also the pleasure of playing with Rudolf Bansbester. He came and schooled at Okagarara Secondary School while we were there. So it was football then. It's not these PlayStation guys that are just seated and playing in the house. We used to hit the streets, play. Sometimes we used to contribute money. The team from your location playing against another team. You put money on the table, and sometimes you will find that the guy who was giving the money disappears. So. Yeah, that was the culture, and it was beautiful. You know, at primary school level, we used to travel to Waterbeck Primary School or Konjatu, even in Oshodondu, Coplands, Kamatapati. So that's where we used to go play. And then when we graduated to the secondary school, we used to go play in Ochivarongo against Stanley Kamesepo them. A lot of guys from Ochivarongo, so we used to play against Parieses, Donates. We used to play against teams, schools from Ocho, Grootfontein, Da Costa, Angula, them.
Yeah.
So it was a cultural thing,
football,
football community when we were growing up, but the culture has now changed to PlayStations and other things, another interest.
So I have two questions for you based on that. The first one that you mentioned is the PlayStation guys versus how you guys used to play. We'll come back to that one. But let's go back. You come home, you are dusty, and you have been playing football. What would the parents do? Obviously, you say they would beat you up, but would they encourage you to continue playing football, or they would stop you from playing football?
No, there was never encouragement, because after school immediately you haven't done your homework, you haven't done anything, you just disappear. Because my mother is she is a retired school teacher, so sometimes she stays behind doing her assessment at school and all those other things. And then the moment we come home, undress, eat, hit the streets. So it looked like we were just roaming the streets, we were ill-disciplined and all that. So hence the whipping. Sometimes you play until very late, until down, and when you get home, you are hungry, you are all dusty, and you want to sneak in, but the mother is sitting there waiting for you. Yeah, so we were never encouraged to play football, Because
so now, what are the parents saying now? They see you, football has taken you to all these places. I'm sure sometimes you sit back, like during holidays, and you reminisce about that. What do they say now?
Yeah, no, she's proud that I have made it that far in football, and we sometimes have jokes around it. I would say, but you were beating me when I was trying to learn and to perfect the skill of playing football.
You.
Instead of you having to encourage me. But it's all water under the bridge. I think she's proud of the achievements in terms of football, in terms of academics. Yeah, so she's having trophies even in her house, some posters. Yeah,
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, talking about now the development of players, like during your days, it was football. You would eat football, sleep football, drink football. Or even at school, you just break time, you play football. Just before assembly in the morning, you play football. After lunch, after school, you play football. Nowadays, there is technology. Most of our players are playing football on FIFA, PlayStation, and whatever, video games and whatever, online stuff. In terms of development of players, what effect does it have for you to play so much football at a younger age compared to these guys that are now playing FIFA, online football?
Yeah, I think one can only improve by practicing, by playing more, perfecting the skill. We were, I think, fortunate, our generation, because we used to play a lot of football, as you said. And for some of us, having to come and play for the national team, play for so long for the national team, captain the national team. So one will look back and say, look, we never went to football academies. We learned football from the streets. Of course, we tried to play more structured football when we were now at secondary school level. But the basic skill, I think it's more from the streets than anything else. So in terms of the guys on PlayStation, it's unfortunate that you can only master playing the PlayStation, but not the game itself. But in our days, of course, like in towns, like in Windhoek here, there are a lot of academies. They do, at least they are trying. They have some basic skills here and there, but I also don't think it's enough because they are in school the whole day, probably daycare after school, and only have an hour or two to go train with the academy. So they are a bit limited in terms of playing football. For us, we will play football anyway. As you said, at school, break time, we also had this PE thing at school. Yes. Where you just go out there, physical education, you just go out, play football. Because we love the game, we enjoyed the game. So I think that's how we develop our skill, and that's how fortunate, because we love the game. Unlike today's generation where people are just being forced to play the game. I think that's the difference.
That's the difference. And you spoke about academies, and you are mentioning that they don't have enough time to train the children. Do you think the more hours you play, the more hours you guys played compared to the one that the academies are playing right now, what would you suggest should be done? Do you think academies should add more time? Because remember, when you go to academies, as a parent, you have to pay, and those guys will charge you maybe per hour.
Yeah, if it was not as expensive, or if it was affordable or subsidized by government, because people can make a living out of football. We have seen it, the likes of John Hotto, Peter Shalolile now currently. They are playing at a professional level, and it is every parent's dream, especially those taking their kids to academies where they are paying. It's an investment at the end of the day. So one would want those kids to have more time to train, perfect the skill, and make it in football. So yeah, one would want them to spend more time on the pitch, because that's the only way you can learn and improve the skill, is by playing the game consistently.
All right.
On a regular basis as well.
Now you've matriculated in Okakarara. You come to Windhoek, I think, for your tertiary education. Take us through that period.
Yes, I matriculated, and I then came to Windhoek. It was now a choice of what is it that I wanted to study. And the admissions I got then were, I think, from some agricultural fields at NAST. And I really wanted to do law.
Okay.
So I had discussions with my parents and with my mentor as well. I had a coach called who goes by the name of Mr. Upi. He's currently teaching in Ochiwarongo now. He used to be a teacher, a very close friend of mine as well, a teacher at Okakarara Secondary School. So we had the discussion, and he was of the view that why go for this agricultural thing? I think you're more smarter than that. Because you know, when you matriculate, you are desperate, you want to get to that tertiary institution. But sometimes it's more the emotions and more the fact that you want to get in there, but not necessarily for something that you really want to do. Yeah, so we had that discussion, and then I decided for my first year, which I think 2006, I decided no. Let me just, in the meanwhile, because I didn't manage to get into the law field, let me just do other things for that year. So
what were those other things?
No, I registered for NAMCOL. I rewrote some, and I also did math and physical science because we did not have them. Because I also wanted to go into the field of becoming a doctor or alternatively law. So that's how that went. I did math and physical science, which I also passed, and then the following year I applied again, because there was a flow there at the University of Namibia into the Faculty of Law. And I also did not make it again for that year, specific year. And I was, fortunately I was admitted to the university, but on another field, which was the psychology. So I did like a bridge year in the psychology field for the first year. And then that's how I eventually gotten into the law faculty.
And that's when you also started playing for UNAM?
Yes, it was during that period that I started playing football for UNAM as well.
In the first division?
Yeah, in the first division. No, it was, I think, second division.
Yeah.
Then we promoted to the first division. So when I left, we were still playing in the first division.
Yeah. When you started playing football, because I think I've watched you in the second division, you were playing as a defender, right?
No, I never played as a defender. I was more an attacking midfielder.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's when I started seeing you playing football. Let's talk the football back now. Obviously, you said you started when you were young at primary school. But when did you say, I think I can take this thing to the next level?
Yeah, it was
professional.
Yeah, you know, it was during the time I was playing at UNAM. I had a number of clubs that also approached me at the time, because I used to also play this village football, All Stars, Okakarara All Star. So it was a lot of exposure. There. I think at the time I was approached by Tuks, at another point by Black Africa. And I was always talking to my parents, my brother, and Mr. Upi as well. But so the issue was, let's see how it goes with the studies first. Play at UNAM, don't rush to go to the Premier League. See how you can balance the two before getting into serious commitment with football. So that's why I stayed for a longer period at, I think, the University of Pretoria, I mean the UNAM Football Club. I think I stayed there for maybe 4 seasons, from second division. I think we played 2 seasons in the second division, and then I think we got promoted in the 3rd season, and then and then I played 1 season in the 1st division. Yeah, so, and then I gotten into the faculty of law, and it was trying to strike that balance, and I think the balance, I had it under control. That's why I decided to move, because also Smedley Engelbrecht was the coach at UNAM.
Yeah.
He never wanted me to leave. He wanted to keep me at UNAM. They even went to the extent, because UNAM was not paying us any salaries. We just wanted to play football.
Yeah.
So they even went to the extent of saying, "Can we give you a job?" I said, "No, I can't take a job. I can't be studying, working and playing football."
Yeah.
It was never going to work.
It was going to be too much.
It was a recipe for disaster. And I said, "No, I'm not going to take a job. Either you pay me or you let me go." And it was a struggle from the UNAM side. They could not pay, and I also told Smedley, "Coach, I need to go. I think it's high time. I served UNAM. I played enough football for UNAM." And I told him I had a dream to play for the national team.
Yeah.
Because I was seeing I was improving. I was one of the players that was working very hard at UNAM. I used to stay in the hostel at UNAM. I used to run those stairs before training, after training. So I was one of the fittest players at UNAM.
Okay.
And that's when I decided, I think it was 2009-10, decided I was leaving. And then I went for trials at UNAM, at African Stars, despite all these other interests from Tuks and Black Africa. Because Tuks, they had that history that once you play for them, you can't leave. you have been threatened. So we get to learn these things, and it was, I think at the time it was Willem Kapukare was the coach.
At Tuks, yes.
At Tuks, yeah. He approached me, we spoke, and I took it to my brother to say, "Hey," he was like, "No man, these Tuks,
you won't be able to leave.
You won't be able to leave. Once you get there, you will." So, and then I went to trial at Stars. That was, I think, towards the beginning of, 2009-10 season. Yeah. I used to travel from UNAM, take a cab, come to Commersdal Stadium where they trade, the other pitch underneath there.
Yes.
So that's where they used to train. I trained there. Who
was the coach then?
It was Bobby Samaria.
Yeah.
You are a young player, you are coming from UNAM, nobody knows you, you just train there. I trained maybe for 2 weeks, no interest shown. You are just one of the players training there. And I had to fork out money from my own pocket to attend training and back. And it was a struggle. So I decided, let me just go back to UNAM and keep fit and train there. And then they organized a friendly with UNAM. And
you said I want to show them.
Yes, I showed them. It was not a matter of wanting to show them. I showed them. I destroyed their midfield. They had Karonge, they had Jamu there. So I was running down the midfield. I think I even scored on that game. And the coach approached me after the game. "Hey, why did you stop coming to training?" I said, "No. For how long was I going to use my own money? Nobody was talking to me at the pitch." I decided, no, let me go back to my club. No. They even fork out money that time. Maybe it was a 600 for transportation now. And they were going to play another friendly against Black Africa at Academia. That's where Black Africa was training. They even took me with. I went and played in that friendly. And the rest is history, as they say. And that's how I ended up signing for Stars. And then I played in that season. We won the double. We won the NFA Cup and the league.
All right, playing under Bobby, how was it? In fact, let's start with Smedley. Playing under Smedley and then playing under Bobby, how was it? Those two coaches was very fundamental in your development.
Of course, Smedley is a guy that loves football. It's a funny coach. Yeah, when he's giving team talk, he's always having jokes that he's making with his players. But of course, we were young, we were just allowed to go out there and play, and he wanted the team to play. So I think he contributed a lot to my development, especially playing in the middle of the park, because he will tell you where to run, what to do with the ball in moments. But And when it comes to Bobby, he's a coach that wants to play with a certain structure, with a certain attacking formation. And it is under Bobby where I started now getting more into the box, because he had that concept of third man running. So it's an attacking midfielder. The moment you play that ball wide, or any other of the players play it wide, and you are playing in the offensive role, you must be on top of the box, inside of the box, penalty spot. So he's the one that, brought that, how do I say
Lead running into the box.
Yes, that feature into my game. And then I think I scored a number of goals for African Stars under that structure and under his coaching, because he always wanted that extra player to get into the box. So when you are playing with twin strikers, there are certain positions that they must occupy, but you must arrive.
Yeah.
And you remember also Ninja Karonge used to score a lot of goals
from outside the box. Yeah.
From outside the box, inside the box. It's because of that tactic. When you are playing that offensive role, you must join the attack. And I see it's one of how do you call it?
The features that is
one of the features that is lacking in most attacking midfielders currently, because they tend to be very lazy. They don't get into the box. They don't follow the attack. And you will never score more than 10 goals a season, or at least close to 10 goals, if you don't follow the attack.
Is that the target that you always say to yourself, that I want 10 every season?
Yeah, as a midfielder and attacking, I used to play with Yamu, Quentin, Ruti, them. Yeah. So around those guys, even defensively, because as a young player, you're one of the most, your most important asset is the energy that you bring to the game.
Yeah.
You must be energetic. You must
be able to run around.
You must be running around.
Cover a lot of space in the field.
Exactly. But so that's exactly what I brought to the game. Despite all the other skill, I needed to be the fittest guy, get into that box, come and assist in defense, attack. So I think I must give it to Bobby Samaria, especially with that
feature of play.
Yes.
But a lot of people believe you're a defensive midfielder.
Of course, defensive midfielder. Then I was called up for the national team, and especially when I played under Kanyuka, because I think Brian Isaacs is the one that made me captain. I was called during the era. The first call-up was Tom Sandfield.
Tom Sandfield?
Yeah, I think he called myself and Denzel Ausa, who we made our debut under him at Semnioma Stadium. I think we played that game, was it against Malawi, where it was raining, it was pouring, and that's how we got into the national team.
Okay.
And thereafter, I think I played under Brian Isaacs, who made me captain, and then I think Nori came, and then Ricardo Manetti.
And you played defensive midfield for the national team?
Yes, I played defensive midfielder in the national team, and I think it was during the time of Brian and Kanyuka.
Yeah. We'll talk about the national team. Now you are playing at Stars. You win the double. How many seasons did you play at Stars, and when did they move to South Africa come?
I think for Stars, I think I played, was it 3 seasons, I think. We won that double the first season. Second season, I think we only won the league.
The league,
And then the third one, Black Africa won the league, and I think probably we won the FA Cup or something. Because I remember I moved to South Africa, was it after the season 2012, 13.
How did that move come about?
Yeah, that move came about when there was a scout that came and watched the national team. I think we played Burkina Faso at the Independence Stadium. It was one of these AFCON qualifiers. Yes. So there was a coach by the name Sly Musala. He used to be the assistant coach at the University of Pretoria. So he came, they were looking for striker players and the wingers, and he saw me playing there. And I think I played well that game. I was in both defense and in attack as well. And then he took me, I think, he saw me there, and then I was called to join them for training, I think for 2 weeks.
In South Africa?
In South Africa, yeah. So I went there, stayed there for the 2 weeks. I came back, and they were interested. They were calling now to give me a contract, and I had to look at the numbers, I had to look at my studies. So it was an issue of whether should I go or should I not, because at the time I was in my final year, my LLB, because I studied B juris for 3 years. 2010 I finished it, I graduated 2011. So I finished 2011 first year of LLB, because by the time we were doing 2 degrees, B juris first 3 years, and then LLB for 2 years. So I finished, I started the first year, which was 2011, with my LLB. Then I was in my final year
in 2012.
In 2012,
and the offer came.
And the offer came almost around June. So by the time I was done with my first semester modules, I've written my exams, passed, and now
you have to go to South Africa,
to the final stretch of LLB, and
the opportunity came.
The opportunity came.
So how difficult was it, the decision now to say, okay, there are the numbers here, they look good, and there are my studies here, they are looking well on track. Football in Namibia is going well. I mean, the national team. How was the decision?
Yeah, it was a tough decision or call to make. I discussed it with my brother, Jeffrey Kashivena. He works there at FNB. And he was of the view that, no, you must just stay and finish your studies. You are almost done. I spoke to my mother about it, and I was eager to go. My gut feeling was telling me it's the right time, it's an opportunity. And one of the other things that convinced me more to be keen on the move than not was the fact that it was a university team, and they offered to say, no, we'll pay for your studies once you come the other side.
Okay, so they offered you to continue with your studies and they would pay?
Yes.
Okay.
So that was one of my conditions that I had to insert in the agreement, and they knew that I was a student and it was a challenge to get me over. So we agreed those terms, and I had to convince my mother. My mother said, come on, I don't need to make decisions for you anymore. You have done well, you have made me proud, and I know whatever decision you take, you will do well. Yeah. And then the struggle was my older brother now
saying
no, stay, complete your studies. So I told him, no, I think opportunities like that comes once in a while. We have millions of football players around the globe, and had I not taken that move, I might have not actually played professional football. So for me, it was once I have gone to the national team, I thought I saw myself having the potential to make it, to play in a professional league, play in a professional setup, see how things are done that side. And I decided, for the reasons that the fact that they were going to pay for my studies and I could continue there, I think it was the right time to make the move.
Now you've made that move to Pretoria, University of Pretoria, Tuks. You get there. Tell us about the differences.
Yeah, I got there. Firstly, there were challenges with respect to the work permits and
study permits.
Study permits, we did not need study permits, but to play, because they wanted to register me as a local guy, so I had to apply for permanent residency and all that. And I stayed there until, I think, December without playing.
From June to December?
Yes, and my brother was saying, hey, you see? So it was a period that there was a bit of regret to say, maybe I should have stayed, finished my studies, but in any event, they would have not started the process of looking for this application for permanent residency had I not gone there. Yeah. So at the end of the day, at least I started playing. I think I played Sundowns. Was it the first game?
Against Sundowns?
Empty. And I think I just started playing in the league. Yeah. That was late in December, I think the same year. That's the time I was cleared and I could start playing. But at most of the time that I spent there, I was just training with the club, And it's quite different. The league is professional, training on time, you know, maybe some days twice, especially in the preseason, or 3 times in the gym, on the pitch. So physically you are conditioned to play football. There you sleep, you eat, everything is just football. It's unlike here where I have to sit in a class, or I have to stay in an office before I go train. The football is professional. It's all you do, and it pays your bills. And so another issue that was a bit of a regret is they said I was going to continue, so I thought with what I had from UNAM was sufficient. I would just had to study that part and complete the studies, but it was not the case. I was actually taken 2 years back because I think their LLB was for 4 years straight. They did not have the B Juris curriculum. So I got exemptions for most of the subjects, of course, but I needed to study for another 2 years because they're saying, look, the qualification will read University of Pretoria.
So it must meet the standards.
It must meet the standards of the University of Pretoria. At least you must do half of that at the University of Pretoria. Yeah, so
was that a challenge to you? Was that a regret to you to say, I could have just finished at home?
No, it was never a regret, you know. It was an opportunity for me. I saw it as an opportunity to also study in a different country, see how their laws work, because most of the authorities that we use in our high courts or in our courts here are from South Africa. So I saw it as an advantage, as an opportunity for me to see how their case works and how their laws are different from what we have, and how and why their authorities are used in our courts as well, because then they are seen as more superior than us in terms of their jurisprudence and how it developed, how their laws developed. And I saw it as an opportunity. I took it with both hands, although I had to miss some classes due to training, due to traveling and play. But the University of Pretoria, because it has incorporated sports in their programs, so student athletes are given priorities and they are not denied opportunities to ride at the time convenient to them. So that was the advantage. The advantage there was.
And we didn't have that at UNAM at that time.
No, UNAM, it's either you decide, if you can't ride first opportunity, then you go for second. And even though you have to go play for Stars, who cares? It's your own baby. But there, because they have that sport element into their programs, they encourage student athletes. I think that's where the High Performance Center is. It's stationed at the University of Pretoria. So it's where most of their world-class athletes are trained. They train there. They have dietitians. They have all the sport coaches are centered there. So for them, the priority was always given to a student athlete and how they could make their lives easier in terms of having that balance between playing sports and study.
Yeah, and then you play for University of Pretoria. I think you went with, or he joined you later, Dudes Modianga.
No, Dudes Modianga, I think he started at Amazulu. At the time I went with it was Pietrus Chitembi and Larry Orabe. Yeah.
So Dudes comes to join you. You are made captain of the club. How difficult was it to be made captain of a South African club? Because we have heard that South African players, while they are friendly and welcoming to foreigners, sometimes they will always be targeting you to say, this guy must not take our position, he comes from outside, we must protect our own. How difficult or how easy was it for you to be made captain of the university team?
No, it was of course difficult. You know, some players felt intimidated or overlooked, but it's always about your individual character as a person and the leadership you show. Because the club captain at the time was Teboho Monyai, who captained. He was the captain for the longest period that I was there, and I was then obviously made vice captain because he was now aging and on his way out to retirement. So then I was made now the vice captain. So I was only captain in the club where he was not playing. And then we had another guy, I think Umpo Mati, who was also the third captain. If I'm not there, so yeah, no, it was a challenge. You know, some of them will call you kwere, what, you Namibian, you foreigners, you know. But I used to manage it, you know. We have been around. You don't take that personally, of course.
You develop a thick skin, yeah.
Yeah, thick skin. You have to. You are in a foreign country. You are playing. You are a regular player in the team. So it was an issue of you working extra hard as a foreigner. You can't be at the same level as the local guys because they were comfortable. They were playing at home. You went there to look for bread. So you needed to show why you are worthy of playing before the local guys. So you always try to be on top of your game. You try to be fit, well rested for games and deliver on the day.
And then when Tuks joins you, I think he also becomes captain of the club.
Yes.
I found it a bit comical. Not really comical, it was sort of something, yeah, I can say comical. You were captain of the national team, and Tuks was your vice captain at the national team, and he was captaining you at the club level, and you were assisting him.
Yeah.
What was the discussion when you are doing team talks, when you are talking to the guys at both the club and national team level?
No, it was my guy. We had a very good relationship. We would spend time together in his room, in my room, playing PlayStations, you know. No, the relationship was good, but you know, there was politics now. You remember that was the time that Sean Bartlett came in.
Yeah.
So Sean Bartlett had a problem with the senior players in the team, players that have stayed long at the University of Pretoria. And that was when the demise of Tuks came about. Because even when he came, he used to bench me from the lineup to the stands. So it was during that period. And as I said, I'm a footballer. You play, because my reasoning was, look, I'm not being paid for appearances to play football. I'm earning my salary as a professional footballer. I must just work hard
to get into the team.
I must go with a positive attitude to the pitch, play, show at training that I'm still hungry, I'm still capable. So it was that challenging, to say, moment in my footballing career, where coach comes and has other ideas, and that's the time that we have also this Lennox Bactela them. You know, the whole dressing room had become a bit toxic. It was a difficult time at Tuks. We did not start well that season. We had Sammy Troughton as our coach. We started very badly at the beginning of the season, but when Sean was coming in and when Troughton was being fired, the team started improving in terms of getting results. I remember we even beaten Black Aces, Mpumalanga Black Aces. I think results were now coming. The technical team had gotten some ways of how we were doing things, and really the results were coming. But unfortunately, probably the decision was already taken that Sammy Troughton must go. Then the guy left. Sean came in. I think we played few games under him, new structure, new philosophy. I think during the first period we also did not do well under him. We lost few games. Results were not good. And then he started this issue with senior players. So we were being dropped. We played, I think, Cosmos at one point. They were playing in Joburg. We remained. We were not part of the squad. So we were just working hard. And I remember there was a time that I came out from the stands into the first lineup. I had to deliver. I remember also getting man of the match against Golden Arrows, against Max Dem and Dion Hoto. They were still playing there.
Golden Arrows,
yeah. Golden Arrows. And he came there saying, you played well. Look, for me, I said,
I'm a professional.
I'm a professional.
I have to do what I have to do.
I'm here to do a job. So given the opportunity, I will do the job. But he was just trying to frustrate the senior players.
Okay. Now you are done with your studies, and I think it was 2016?
2015.
2015.
Yeah.
After we won the COSAFA in South Africa.
Yeah, even during COSAFA, I had to drive back, travel for exams and back. And
at the COSAFA?
At the COSAFA 2015 that we had won. I went there with my own car, so...
You're driving out. And then now you come back home, I think it was 2016.
Yeah.
We are now playing the COSAFA here. And Dudes, I remember Dudes didn't come for that season because you were fighting relegation.
Yeah.
And that's and this league in South Africa had not finished.
No, we had been relegated, I think.
Already. You had been relegated, okay. But the season was still ongoing. And there were some matches that were being played during...
No, I was there throughout. I remember also playing those playoffs where we lost. Yeah, and Dutes was still there. Yeah. And coming back to the issue of Dutes, I think we didn't finish it. Yeah. As I said, we had a good relationship, and he was also asking why was he given captain while I was there. Did the guys discuss anything with me? I said no. There was no discussion with me, and you know the story with the coach. So he's trying to frustrate us, or maybe put bad blood between us, but we are brothers. Yeah. You are the captain now. Good luck. Yeah. Let's support each other. We are going through a rough patch already with a team. Just do what you need to do, because I think Dutes was more now a regular player. I think he played most of the games.
Yeah.
Yes, so we were now being sidelined in the 18 from being in the first 11 back to the stands. So that's how it went. And I said, no, do this. Even now, till today,
we're still friends.
We are still friends. He's my guy, full of jokes, full of life. And there was never bad blood between myself and him.
Yeah. And now you come back to rejoin African Stars. You are done with your studies, but you still have to do a sort of a bridging course here.
Justice training.
Yeah, justice training. Yeah. How tough was it? It was a little bit calmed down. Did it calm down, or it was still up there?
Yeah, no, I came back, rejoined Stars, and I also gotten the attachment now to do this justice training at Dr. Wieter Kauta through my boss, Patrick Kauta. Yeah. It was tough because now you have to work. You work from 8 to 5. You have training. Sometimes at 5, 7 o'clock, you have those justice training classes at night.
Sure. So it was really hectic.
Yeah, it was really hectic, but I think the league was also, it was during that time, stop start. Yeah, stop start. So I think that was also a blessing in disguise. But of course, the national team was also busy at the time. You remember we qualified twice to Chan without having a league. But I think football have kept me well. I think work is also sometimes stressful, and once you get out there in the pitch after a long day of work, you sort of now get new energies, you relax. So that's how I used to balance it. But it was tough, but I managed to do it. I got my admission. I think 2016 when I started, the justice training had already registered students by beginning of the year. So I could not actually attend classes, but I started with my practical work.
Okay, let's talk about the national team. Your first call-up, when was it?
I think it was during the first season. It was the first or second season.
In 2010.
2010, yeah, I think 2010.
2011. Who were the players, the senior players there in the team that you found there? And what was their reaction and your reaction towards them?
Sure, I found a whole bunch of senior players. Oliver
Risse.
Yes, Richard Karise, Yamuna Vandunga Shudeko, Quinton Jacobs, Razi, Colin Benjamin.
Quite a talented bunch.
Quite a talented bunch. I think.
How did they accept you?
Paulus, Shupanga. No, we're young boys. You know, you come there, you are fearless. You just try to play your game. But the reception, to say the least, the reception were not good.
Okay.
by the senior players. They were looking down on these upcoming young players. Who's this guy? Who's this villager? You know that attitude, that resentment, kind of. You are not welcome here. Who are you? That was the type of attitude that the national team
from the senior players.
Yes, they were Butiki Malchas, them, Heinrich Isaacs. There were a lot of.
So what do you think made it that? Were they scared that you were coming to take their position, or they just wanted to keep sort of a bunch of an elder statesman bunch?
Yeah, it was that sort of ring fence around the national team that they were gatekeepers trying to protect their space. They protect each other from these upcoming players, and so you needed to have that thick skin as well, and say, but who are you? Them. Yeah, it's not anybody's house. It's a national team.
So you play with those guys, quite senior players.
Shipau, Rudolf Bester, them.
So those are senior guys. Those are tough guys, talented guys. Some of them are playing outside the country. What lessons did you learn through that whole experience in your first few matches? Let's say your first 10 matches.
Yeah, no. The first thing that you need to realize and understand is that it's a different level altogether. You are not playing in Stars, you are not playing at UNAM. The level is quite different. You play with these top talented players that are some of them playing in Europe. So you needed now to change your game a bit as well. If you hold more onto the ball, you needed to think fast and try and release the ball and try and occupy other spaces immediately. So the movement, it was quite a fast game, intense, structured. Sometimes you also find yourself now, you have acre of space because there are structures. It's not like we play in the MPL here, follow the guy must not touch the ball. It's not that type of game. There are structures. You get the ball. So the very first thing I realize is that if you can't pass, you won't be able to play. Because of course you will get space. There is no way Sergio Mane will man mark you. He will just close down the spaces or the passing lines. So you would realize that when you play at that level,
you have the ball.
You have the ball.
What to do with the ball,
what to do with the ball is very important. You have your passes must be accurate. Otherwise, you won't be able to play. Otherwise, you will give wrong passes or passes, the weight, the accuracy. Those things now started to be a very important part of your game. Because you will look bad when you have that space and you can't pass the ball to the next player. Yes, so those are the lessons that one needs to learn very fast.
Very fast, okay. And then, well, we win the COSAFA Cup. Take us through that period. You are obviously driving from Pretoria to the northwest. You go and win that trophy. What was the feeling?
It was an amazing feeling, you know. By that time...
Did you guys expect it?
Of course, I think we had a very good team. I think that bunch, that generation of players, I think we started with
under 20,
yeah, they were under 20s. Yeah. Unfortunately, fortunately, I never played for any junior national team.
You never played for any junior national team?
Never. I only played senior level. So it was during that time of Nori, I think Kanyuka played a very important role in developing that team, getting those players together. I understand they are a bunch from an under 20, Larry them,
yes.
Wangu Gome, Pietres Shitembi, Tiberius Lompard. Was Awilo there at the COSAFA? I think
yes,
Awilo.
He was there because I think after that he went for trials at Bloemfontein.
Yes. Peter Shalulile them, he was now upcoming. Benson Shilongo.
Oh, yes.
So I think it was a very good team.
And you expected to win the tournament?
Of course. No, we didn't start well. I think we had a draw against one of the islands.
Yeah,
Madagascar or Seychelles.
Madagascar.
Yes.
It was Madagascar. 3-3, yeah. I think.
Yes. It was not a good start. We conceded, but the moment we played Zambia, Zim, it was a difficult group. So I think we went out of the group and then we meet Zambia where we beat them on penalties. Yes, then we started believing more that anything is possible, because by the time Kennedy Mweni was even the goalkeeper, so it was a strong Zambian team. And we had beaten Zim, which was also a very tough team. Yes. So now the belief started coming also during the tournament to say, guys, here we might we might win this tournament. We just needed to take one game at a time until we ended up with Mozambique. And Mozambique has not beaten us in recent games and years. And we saw it as an opportunity that we can lift the trophy.
The technical team at that time, Ronnie Canalelo, assistant coach, Ricardo Manetti, coach, Harry January, I think, goalkeeper coach, the team manager, it was Tim Isaacs, and the players manager was
Jake
Samaning. What was your feeling towards that technical team?
Yeah, I think it was a good technical team, well experienced, because even Manetti during the time of Kanyuka, I think he was the assistant to Kanyuka, and then he came in, he brought in Ronnie. So it was a good team, and he from his experience during his playing days as a head coach, as a head of technical team, then he realized that, Manetti realized that he needed to send Jakes even before we traveled now. As a manager, he used to go before us, make arrangements wherever we are going to stay, ensure that everything is in place. Not these things, you arrive in a country, you stay 5 hours at an airport. So things started improving now. And I think as the time went by, he started maturing as a coach as well. You will come from Pretoria, from your club, you land here, you are given a night off to say, go to your family, see your girlfriend, see your wife, and then come back the next day. It's a level of maturity. We never had that
before.
Before, you just come here as if you are a foreigner, you are locked up in a hotel. Yes, I mean, that's how players started escaping from camp. Because
but if you are given that opportunity,
there's
no
need
for you to escape.
Yes, there's no need for you to escape. You went, you see your people, you see your family, you are back in camp, you are fully focused, you are ready for the job.
And then we qualify for AFCON 2019.
Yes.
The qualifiers, in terms of football, you guys played great football. But in terms of the situation surrounding the qualifiers, the camp, what was happening in the country with football, there was no football. You guys would camp for 3 months, training twice a day at the football house. Take us through that period.
Of course, it's not an ideal situation, but we had most of the players playing locally in the country, not having clubs outside, and the job needed to be done, and they came up with a sort of a program as to how they can keep the fitness levels, keep the team together, and still believe that we could actually qualify. Of course, the team started playing football. Coach wanted us to play more, keep the ball, 100% passes, ensure that the passes are accurate. And I think I must give it to the boys during the time, the technical team and everyone. I think the team at times displayed maturity, good football, carpet football, especially when we played at Semnioma Stadium. We used to have these big teams coming here, and we really stood our ground. We played, and I think that's how we managed to qualify. But it was difficult.
What motivated you? The fact that there was no league in the country, did that motivate you? Because we were under the normalization committee at that time.
Yeah, it was that fact, and I think the players were hungry. We played these qualifiers year in, year out, and I think qualifying was long overdue. The players also get matured in their game, they gained experience, and we really had a very good team during that era. We have good goalkeepers, Maximilian Baeva, Virgil Fries, Loet, I think, also came through. So defensively we were also sound. We had the likes of Denzel, Ananias Gephardt, Vele Mudianga, Larry, Da Costa Angula. So I think we had a very good team.
And the fans, what role did the fans play, playing at Sam Nujoma Stadium? Because there was always a war cry that let's paint Sam Nujoma red, and all the fans would come wearing their red supporters t-shirts, and it would always be pegged or close to pegged.
No, fans really plays a big role because they stand behind you. Even no matter how difficult the game is, especially when the Sam Nujoma was painted red, you are encouraged. You get that extra vuma from them. When they are shouting out there, they encourage the players. And it was amazing. Even the way they celebrated after scoring a goal. So they played a major role. It's unfortunately now that the team has to play in South Africa in empty stadiums without the fans. And it's a ground that we trained at, we played on. So we always had that advantage in terms of what we wanted to do. And I think during that period, the team was also doing very well. Everyone was eager to go out there and watch the Brave Warriors play at home.
And for the preparations of the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations, which was in Egypt, what would you say? Because some people feel like you did not have the best of preparations towards that tournament. You didn't have enough friendlies. I know you played Ghana, I think in Dubai. But leading to that, you did not have really proper preparations. What would you say?
Yeah, sometimes it's difficult preparing for those big tournaments because, of course, we started here, the local guys. We then went to South Africa in Pretoria. We trained there, we played few friendlies, but it was in the absence of the whole squad because internationals that were playing outside had not joined us. The likes of Tepe, I think, was still playing in Zambia.
Ryan.
Yes, Ryan, and even the South African players. They only came at a later stage when we now were about to leave to Dubai. But of course, preparations were good in Dubai. We trained hard. We played few friendlies there. I think 2. One was Ghana. Was the other one with a local team? I can't remember. I think was it not South Africa? No, South Africa was also camping there. But I think we played another friendly as well. So of course, I think
you would say the preparations were fine.
No, preparations were fine. Were fine.
But then there were now reports that you players were striking for money.
Yeah, the striking, I think the first strike, of course, there were demands from that side as well, but the initial strike was
in the final qualifying match against Zambia.
Yeah, against Zambia. Yeah. Because look, as players, we don't want to get to those extremes. I was captaining the team, but sometimes you are left with no choice. You have to stand your ground, you have to stand up for these players because the players are the one doing the job. But the association, they don't want to compensate for the hard work that goes behind the scenes, for the sacrifices from your family, from your other activities that you have to do. All these things count for nothing insofar as the association is concerned because, look, the demands were not unreasonable. The demands were also not instant to say, no, pay us tomorrow. The demands were that
make a commitment.
Let's have ABC in black and white. And the disappointing part is that by the time we negotiated with the normalization committee, especially before the qualifying bonus, it was discussed here in Windhoek. I went even and saw the late Mati Mwandingi, who was assigned now to discuss those things. And I thought he could understand because he was a former player. He played in the Premier League, he played for Tigers. And those that knows him and that played with him at Tigers also knows that he was one of the guys when salaries were delayed or their money were not paid, that was fighting for this. So he's also a colleague, he was my classmate, he played football. And I said, oh, maybe I'm fortunate here to be given somebody that understands the game. So these discussions were here. We give figures that we wanted for the qualifying bonus or that we had proposed. They were to get back to us before we even left to South Africa for the training camp and final preparations to Zambia. We said, no, give us just the commitment. We understand the association might not have money now. Just give us a written commitment. They went, we gave them maybe time, 2 weeks, nothing was said. Now we are in South Africa. We have to go to Zambia to go play. And apparently we were holding the nation hostage. It's a very reckless statement. It's an unfair statement under the circumstances, because we negotiated these things. We needed the normalization committee to come back to us, tell us, okay, no, your proposal, it's a bit exorbitant, or it's a lot of money that you are demanding. Can we negotiate at this rate or reduce at this rate? There were no such negotiations. They were quiet until that final part. Now
we influenced because there were suggestions that we were being influenced by the technical team.
How are we influenced by the technical team? It's our bonuses. They had nothing to do with the technical team. And even when we had these money issues or payments, technical team was always sitting aside. Especially Coach Manetti, he says, no guys, if you have issues, discuss your issues. I don't want a team that is not even focused at training. Go discuss your issues, talk to the relevant authorities or people that are the paymasters at the Football Association. We are not going to get involved, resolve those things, and then we get back to training. Give me feedback, whether you had resolved that or when that can be resolved. We could even get a day to
sort out the issues.
To sort out the issues.
No training, no nothing.
No training. We might be, if there are resolutions, then or if the players want to go train, irrespective of these discussions, but we were given ample time to engage. So now when we engaged, and then as captain, I said, guys, let's not have these mini meetings, taking calls from members of the normalization committee. We are a team. We resolved that these are the figures that we want, so we must talk the same language. It can't be that you are saying, and then they started now calling players behind individually. Yeah, tell us who's influencing this, who's that.
Who's the normalization committee?
Yes, some of their members, I understood, were calling the players, and the players were reporting back
that we are being called.
That we are being called. They are asking who's spearheading these demands, and so
it was a witch hunt, sort of.
Sort of, because they were like, we are trying to sabotage the country, and the disappointing part is that this thing was never even advanced to the ministry. And then the ministry's office was only informed when
you were in South Africa.
Yes, when we were in that strike. So the decision was, guys, why are we traveling even to Zambia if there is no commitment? And then when the ministry heard this, they came up, they said, no, we were never informed of this. These are actually the things that we could have resolved already. Please, the ED, Dr.
Emma Kantem.
At that time. And then it was not brought to their attention. They apologized for the inconvenience, and we were told that, no, just travel to Zambia, we will come with your letter of commitment the next day before the game. So, of course, it was a distraction. We could not train. Players were not focused. Players were disappointed. And they said they were now coming back to me, but we gave you the task to go and discuss these issues. What happened? I said, no, I even reported to them that the discussions took place. The engagements were there. They promised they were coming back to us.
So that was the Zambia match. It was a disaster. I was in Zambia.
Yes.
It was a disaster 4-1. You could see that, yes, things were not right.
Yeah.
And then, but fortunately enough, Mozambique did us a favor in Guinea-Bissau, I think. Guinea-Bissau. They drew 3-3, last-minute equalizer for Mozambique, 2-2. Then we go to Egypt. Before Egypt, there was Dubai, where you guys were stranded, I think, at the hotel. It wasn't booked or it wasn't paid for until one member, I think, of the technical team had to pay for it. And then you come to Egypt, you play. The last match, I think, was against South Africa. What time did you sleep? The last match?
No, the last match was against Ivory Coast.
Yeah, Ivory Coast. What time did you sleep, you personally, before that match?
I always sleep early. I struggle to sleep early.
No.
Due to the nature of my...
I'm not talking about your problems. I'm talking about the team problems in terms of the discussions regarding bonuses as well.
No, there were no discussions as far as in Egypt.
Yeah.
In Egypt, we had agreements.
So everything was
agreements that were honored.
Yeah.
There were no discussions.
No issues.
No issues with respect. Probably it was just a delay. We play a game today, then those that play, they get their extra money.
Yeah.
And even sometimes we were getting the payments before the match.
Okay.
As agreed, and then those that featured in those games then get their extra amounts. We had no issues whatsoever
in Egypt.
Oh, okay.
As
far as
you are concerned. Okay.
The money is concerned, because it was from the history. There were commitment from all parties to ensure that there was money available for the players, and everything was paid timelessly.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the experience playing that tournament?
No, it was a good tournament. I think, of course, we played with some big powerhouse.
Ivory Coast, South Africa,
Egypt,
and Egypt.
Yes, I think we played. No, not Egypt. Morocco.
Morocco, yes.
Yes, Morocco. The first game that we lost 1-0.
Yeah.
That unfortunate own goal.
Yeah.
So I think we almost started well, especially had we gotten a draw against Morocco. The result obviously did not go our way. Unfortunate. Kemwine scored an own goal. At the end of the match, we lost that 1-0. Second game, we also lost 1-0, Zungu's header.
Yeah.
But we had a number of chances. Remember Dion Hoto there in the box, the ball that was cleared off the line. I think we did well in as far as those two games are concerned, but against Ivory Coast, we also started well. We created a lot of chances in the first half. We could have been 2-3 up already in the first half.
And it would have changed the game.
Yeah, definitely. We were very wasteful. I think Chalulida had chances.
Yeah.
A number of them during that game. I think was it also Shitembi?
Yeah, quite a
we had a number of chances first half, where we could have, because they were nowhere near us. We were knocking that ball around them. They are huge guys. They were struggling, but we could not take the opportunities. And then they scored. And
in football, they say if you waste chances.
And I think that was the best game we played. It was the first 45 minutes of that game. Yeah. And then unfortunately we got a sucker punch and scored that one goal, and then from there everything just went north.
Yeah. And then the team qualified for the next AFCON. You were retired by then. There were calls to have you back in the national team. You attended a few training sessions before. Unfortunately, you got injured. Would you have, by the injury, would you have gone to AFCON?
Yeah, I think that was the idea, the whole idea why I was called up to come and assist in midfield for the AFCON. Of course, I honored the call. But unfortunately, probably it was never meant to be. For me to be part of that team, and but the team went. I think they did well. They won one. I think they got hammered by South Africa and drew.
Yeah, against Mali.
And then they proceeded to the next stage.
Where they played Angola.
Yes, the fortunate part is that I got an invitation as a legend by CAF.
Yeah. I was coming to that as well. That you were there. I'm not so sure how close you were to the team. What was different in terms of the vibe in the team in Ivory Coast compared to the one in Egypt?
Yes, I wasn't that close to the team, especially in Ivory Coast. But
you would visit them once in a while.
Yeah, I went there. I think I had lunch with them one day. I was also training at their facility. They had a gym there, a proper gym where. Together with the other legend Chapalala and the other guy from Karim from Tunisia, where we used to go there and train. I don't know. I wasn't much in their rooms
but
and in their space.
We had issues, again, money issues. The money issues continue to rear its ugly head in the affairs of the football of the national team. What would be your advice to counter that, based on your experience?
No, the experience tells you, just like in other
countries,
especially powerhouses, these discussions are already concluded at home. That even in terms of qualifying, you don't wait for the players to come and strike, because those are now standard things, qualifying bonus, standard. So you tell your players that, no, if you qualify, you get amount X.
If you go to the next stage, amount X.
Yes.
Quarterfinals, amount X.
Yes.
Semi-finals,
yes.
And finals.
Yes.
So that
already you get your qualifying bonus, discussed, sealed. The players know what is in there for us. That commitment is there, and nowadays it must just be black and white. You give that commitment. If there is no money, the team plays, the team qualifies, the team get paid their money. You are now, you know that you will be part of the tournament. You start your training, or even before you start your training, or you wait for the final squad. You call in the captains, you inform them, discuss these issues with your player. They discuss, they give in their proposal. If there is a counter to the proposal, the counter comes from the Football Association to say, no, this amount out of our range, we can't pay this, but at least we can pay this. That is taken back to the players. They sit, they discuss, either they agree or they say, okay, they give another counter to the counter offer. To say, no, it's a bit less, let's meet halfway here. Agreed, sealed. And then it's now the stages. Group stage, these are your bonuses.
Yes.
Sealed.
Knockout.
Yes. Knockout stage, when you proceed to quarterfinals, your qualifying your win bonus from maybe 10,000 moves to 20 or 30. Sealed, signed. Semi-finals, your bonus move to here, sealed, signed. Final, when you ultimately win the tournament,
when you play in the final, this is what you get.
This is what you get.
If you come number 2, this is what you get. If you come number 1, this is what you get.
Exactly. Those are discussions
that are done prior.
That must be done prior.
But we don't do them here prior in Namibia.
Exactly. Because we want to put the playing body under pressure. Because by that time, you are there, you must play. You are being told, no, you are not getting what you were supposed to get, or there is a change of heart. You know, a lot of things can go on. Yeah. The association is now telling they can't pay ABC.
In Ivory Coast, when that discussion was happening, did the players consult you as an ex-captain to say, look, this guy is experienced in this? I would have consulted you to say, how do you handle this? And did you have any influence around that?
No. I was never consulted. Would
you have helped if you were consulted?
No, I want to stay away from politics.
But your experience is
I was there, I was accused, there were emails that were leaked to social media regarding the Zambian thing. And fortunately, it was something that was agreed to by all the players. So whoever leaked that email, up until today, remains, I don't know. His name was forever withheld. But what I'm saying is that I would have not assisted. I would have stayed clear. Yeah, I would have advised them had they come to me before the tournament.
You would have helped.
I would have assisted to say, no, negotiate in this way. What is it that you want? This is the approach to go about it.
Before the tournament.
Before the tournament.
During the tournament.
During the tournament, it's a camp. You will be accused of disturbing the camp. Now you are influencing players. Okay. So I wanted to stay until today. I want to stay away from those politics. I have been there, I have done my part.
You know what
I have been pointed fingers, I have been accused of whatever might be the case. But I was the leader then. I had to take those bullets. So now, if the current leader comes to me, of course, I will give them tips here and there. But I will never get involved to an extent where I call players, tell them, no, don't go play, do this, do that. That's now their baby, as the playing body is there. They have their captains that are the current captains of the team, well experienced, they have been there. So they must take those discussions and represent the players to their best interest.
All right, shifting gears again. We have a lot to cover, unfortunately. African Stars, they are trying to play group stages of CAF. The past, I think, 2-3 seasons of the CAF Champions League. It hasn't been easy. How has it been?
It has been tough. It is difficult. And the fact that we also don't have stadiums here makes it even worse financially. Lack of your support. Of course, some few of them drove now to Botswana. So you also lose on that revenue. Those games being played here, of course, our people would have come, supported, paid, and contribution to the team's pockets.
Yeah.
So it has been very difficult actually playing in foreign countries, and that team you play home and away
with the
on their stadium, with their fans, with their black magic there. So it's difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult, but we as a team we must also learn.
What are the lessons that you can learn from there?
No, the lessons is that you must take your opportunities. You score goals, be aggressive, have the right energy. The attitude must be different as well. It's not a local league where you can allow certain things to happen on the pitch.
You can't be pedestrian.
Yes, you can't be a pedestrian there. Everyone has to work. Starting from the top, the striker, you must fall back, you must press where necessary, you must work as a team. And also the preparations, we have been preparing well, going into foreign countries, play friendlies, especially in Botswana. So, but match day is always different. The main game is always different.
Yeah. With the national team, you're speaking about playing outside the country. How difficult will it be? I mean, how difficult? I don't want to say how difficult it is to play outside the country. How easy will it be to play at home, especially for Stars in the Champions League and for the national team, all these qualifiers?
Yeah, look, you have your home support. You are playing on the pitch that you know. Comfortable, and of course, everyone, when you get that extra encouragement when you are playing at home in front of your people. Your wife is there, your supporter is there, your brother is there. These people come for you. They come there to support you. Yeah. So they give you that extra energy. You know that your people are watching. So it's quite different. The support is behind you. They are shouting when you are in attack. But you don't have those things. You can
play outside.
Outside. You just go there. Already you are under pressure. The opponents are trying to intimidate you. They are playing home. The supporters, sometimes they boo you. There are a lot of things happening.
Yeah. And then in the local league, you seem to have found a new rival in Chula Chula.
Yeah, it seems to be a woody team now. Of course, they've beaten us now twice in the Hage Cup.
It's a trophy that they wanted to win.
Of course, I won it with the national team before, but it's a trophy that I really wanted to win
at club level.
At club level, and keep it as it was the final one, and also to give respect to the old man, and to his legacy. May his soul rest in peace. Yeah, but it's unfortunate we could not score. I think we had an upper hand, especially in the final game. Now that the recent game. Had maybe 4 or 5 corners before they could even score. We were in the front foot, but we have a problem there going forward because we are not lethal. We don't show the hunger when we get into the final third. We allow teams to even recover and get numbers behind the ball because I think we need to be quick, direct in the final third. The 2, 3, 4 players that are beaten by a pass, a vertical pass that goes forward, they must not get an opportunity to get behind that ball. And I think that has been our problem. In attack, we are taking our time. But you saw Shulachula, they hard running, they get one opportunity in behind our defense goal. So I think, yeah, that's the difference. And if you don't take your opportunities, you will not win this game.
You will not win the game, yeah. The league, we don't know when the league is starting. How are the preparations going from your side?
Yeah, the team has been training. There was a tentative date, of course, of 2 November now, but it's not going to happen. So it's a demoralizing factor, of course, because you have been training for so long. You haven't actually stopped. Because the unfortunate part is that we did not have a proper off-season, so to speak, because of the
Champions League
of the NFA Cup overlapping.
Yeah.
You remember the NFA Cup was extended.
Yeah.
We got 2 weeks, a week and few days off. We had to be back at training to prepare for the final, and then there was Champions League. So that's the problem when our league starts late like this. We are not in alignment with the CAF dates. Yeah. Now, if Stars win the league again, obviously they will take on Africa again. But the problem will be that you will finish your league maybe only in September or late.
August, September, yeah.
Yes.
And the Champions League also starting then.
Exactly. So you haven't rested. You have been playing double headers. You haven't had proper rest time to switch off, relax, get the muscles now relaxed, forget about these runnings, and because you need to go switch off at least for 2-3 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. Stigga, you also have an academy in Okakarara. I'm trying to cover as much as we can with this time because I don't know when we can get to it again. How is it going?
Sure. The academy, this year we had problems with stadiums. There was an incident there at Okakarara Primary School where the kids used to train. There was a wind that blew out the ceilings of most of the buildings. So the school had to set up tents on the pitch there. The other pitch was under renovation. You know, the main stadium, they also used to train there. They planted grass there, so it was closed for usage. So there were only 2 proper places, secondary school and the vocational training center. And they are always fully booked and not available. Even the Okakarara Young Warriors had to train on those 2 stadiums. So this year it has been very difficult.
But going forward?
Of course, no, the materials are there. I have a lot of balls, boots, everything is there available for the kids because you know, one thing that I've learned is that cities and towns have a lot of academies.
Yes.
You will never see another village guy. I was probably the fortunate one, and that's why I want to give back
to the village guys.
To the village guys, to the local guys. Maybe one day we will have another Kreska Shukwa
coming from the village.
Coming from Okakarara, representing the country. So that was the whole idea behind establishing an academy there. You see, we used to play with these plastic balls.
Yeah.
A lot of plastic bags to build, to form that ball. That's how we played football. That's where we are coming from. So one would not forget that reality of where you come from and deny the new generation an opportunity to play with a proper ball, to learn the basics of how to control the ball. At least I owe that to my village and to my community. Yeah. And that's basically why I'm trying these sort of things. I have 2 guys that were also assisting me in Okakarara with coaching these boys. I also at once paid for their coaching course, this grassroots, which was hosted there in Okakarara. So at least we are trying so that we somehow level the playing ground for the villagers so that they are not left behind.
They have the same opportunities.
And have the same opportunities, even if they have to go for regional trials. At least they are coming from a place where they can control the ball, properly pass the ball, play in a football boot. Because some of us played barefoot, nails were coming off. So that's I mean, that's the thinking
behind
the whole thing.
And the farming, how's the farming going?
The farming, it's drought, but so far so good. Animals still look good. They just need to be supplemented. It's difficult times now. And we are hopeful that the rain will still come this year. So once it rains, we smile again. Farming is going very well, and as I said, the fact that I retired now, I have more time.
So you're not playing this coming season?
No, I mean from the international. No, this season. I think this should be my last season, guys. I want to I want to venture into other things and have my time, and I think this should be the last season.
So you are retiring this season?
I want to retire this season.
What memories are you going to take with, at the end of this season?
Yeah, depending how well I do this season, of course, the past 2 seasons, they've been good, man. But the problem I have is the planning of the other coaches.
Administration, yeah.
No, not administration. I'm saying, you see now, I enjoy some games, but there is that planning that I must not get the ball, that guy must not play.
Then the other coaches, the opponents.
Yes, then the whole stars will not be able to play. So every game I play, I'm under pressure. There's a guy here on my tail. I'm like, why are you even marking an old man? It must
but
be.
Remember, you also are marking other old men during your younger days.
No, I was not marking. I was the problem. And that's what I'm telling them.
Yeah.
In my playing days, I was the problem.
Yeah.
Even if you ask Brian Isaacs against Tigers, against Civics, against Black Africa, he will say no. That guy must not play. I remember one day he was the coach of Black Africa. And I scored at the Semnioma Stadium against Arnold Super. They were telling me he was shouting there, Denzel and Eliphas, was it Eliphas Aida? The late Eliphas Aida. Yes. That boy must not play. And it's what I'm telling the youngsters. It must be the other way around. You have the energy, you have the legs. You can do basically what you want with the ball.
Would you consider coaching? Talking about coaches.
No, Marco. I have no time. I don't think I will have the time to get into coaching because
would you get your coaching certificates just to have them there?
Most probably, if I have that time and opportunity, of course. Because the problem with coaching is like I'm getting back into football. You see, we sacrifice a lot of time for football. Your weekdays, those hours, you know that between 5 and 7 is training. Almost every day. Starts training until Friday, whole week. Weekend, either there is a match, friendly, if the league haven't started friendly or a match. And the moment I get into that coaching, my lifestyle won't change. 5 to 7, training. Weekends, friendly or games.
Yeah.
It's not the type of life that I want to live after my playing days.
Okay, professionally, how is it going now?
No, professionally it's going well. I met a law firm. I'm with Brokerhoff now and Associates. We are trading as Dendens Brokerhoff. We went into partnership with Dendens. It's one of the law firm, largest global law firm, that's how they call it. So I think professionally it's going very well. We can't complain, we are keeping up. We are quite busy.
All right, Ronald, thank you very much for your time. I think we have kept you more than enough, long enough. I was looking at the watch thinking we should do it for an hour, but I think we've gone over 2 hours. There's a lot to talk about when we speak about football with you. You have achieved so much. I mean, you have led the national team with pride and honor. I think you're one of the people that, this country must be thankful for when it comes to football. We hope that our football comes back very fast. I mean, we're supposed to play on the 2nd of November, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Some things are missing here and there. Hopefully they will be done. But for me, Marco Ndlovu, it's been a pleasure being in your company. We'll be back again with the 2nd edition of season 2 of Game Time with Marco. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.